making noise like it does, but for some reason it's not. It's not pulling out the. Not connecting. Short answer. Not on this device. No.
Nice to see your faces up there at the dais. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the City of El Segundo Lakes Task Force special meeting. And we'll go ahead and get started with public communications. So anybody in the public can approach the podium and make your comments to the task force. Anybody? Okay, I wanted to mention you did receive an email this afternoon. We did receive, well, City Council actually received some public comments via email, and you have those copies in your agendas. So we will move right along to Section C, approval of the meeting minutes for the meeting on June 27th.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 27th.
Second.
I'm sorry, I can do a little tutorial too. You have microphones in front of you, for those of you not used to sitting up there. And there's a button right in the front, and a green light will come on when your mic is hot. And so you can either leave it on if you like, or turn it off and on as you like to speak, whichever you prefer. Okay?
Yeah, there were some, Greg McCain's name was incorrectly spelled. I think it's Mackay. I don't know if he wants to be Hawaiian or not, but
Of course he
but
does.
it's McCain.
Okay, we'll make that change. Yeah, if you could use your microphone when you speak too.
Can we have a couple of agendas up here? Thank you.
Okay, well, I will move to approve the June 27th meeting minutes with the correction of Greg's last name as suggested.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now we have agendized at 1:30 our first presentation from Flying T. So I will make a motion to recess until 1:30 so we can hear that presentation.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. We're in recess till 1:30.
Meeting back to order. It is 1:30. I do have a couple notes that I want to mention before I introduce our first presenter. This meeting is being broadcast live on the city's website as well as the El Segundo TV YouTube channel. And also will be posted links next week for anybody who can't view it live. They'll be able to view it after the fact as well. What that means is that we do need the presenters and task force members to use the microphones when you speak so that we can pick up the audio for the recording. And also, I guess that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Today is the first of two special meetings, as you know. Today we have two presentations from companies who put in proposals for the use of the Lakes at El Segundo site. And our first one is scheduled here at 1:30 p.m., so I will introduce Flying T, and this is James Volbrecht and John Volbrecht. So they will be speaking from the podium here, and they have the floor.
Before we begin, for those who came in, we started the meeting at 1, and we took a recess till 1:30. We will have opportunity for public communication at the end of the meeting if you missed it at the beginning. I just want you all to know that. Okay, sorry, sir, go ahead.
No worries at all. Thank you. Thank you, members of the task force. Thank you, members of the city government and council, and thank you to the residents for the opportunity to present. My brother and I have been at the business of golf entertainment for quite a while, and we think we have a very compelling case for how we can make the Lakes at El Segundo a world-class sort of flagship location, and we think we're uniquely positioned to do that. So today we'll go through quite a few different points. We'll start with who we are, and we'll also talk a little bit about our co-offer, which is the Cobra Puma Golf Group. Unfortunately, their CEO is expected to be here, but had to cancel. He's got an international multi-billion-dollar golf business, I think that. But he did give us some really good information to pass to you guys. They're really going to be a big part of what we want to do at the Lakes. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about what makes Flying T unique. That's where I come in. You guys are going to hear more about golf technology and golf tracking technology and golf games than you probably want, so I apologize in advance. I geek out a little bit with that stuff. And then we'll spend time on our vision for the Lakes and go through each of the decision criteria and then open the floor to questions. We do have two videos. Time permitting, we'll play both of them. But with that, I'll introduce my brother John, who's the CEO.
Thank you, James. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here today and present our vision for the Lakes. My name is John Volbrecht. I'm the CEO and one of the founding partners of Flying T along with James. I am the only serious golfer of the two of us, although he's slowly learning. And James, as he mentioned, is our chief technology officer and sort of our geek in residence, as we like to say. He, along with his team, built the technology platform that really drives the Flying T experience, which he will go into a lot of detail in shortly. So before we get into the details of the offer and the presentation, we think it's very important for you guys to understand kind of who we are, just as importantly how we got here. So we've been at this for about 6 years. We founded the company, founded Flying T back in 2012, with the idea that we wanted to make golf fun and bring something new to the market. We had seen other options that were out there at the time, and we thought there's got to be a better way to do this, a better technology platform, better offering that appeals not just to non-golfers, but really brings golfers into the fold by showing them all the updated stats and data and everything you see on the tour, and be able to show them, you know, the normal average golfer like me, like James, like all of us, all that same data, and make golf fun and make practicing fun. And so that's how we approach the company and the vision for it. And hopefully after you see the presentation today and the videos, you'll see and think that we have accomplished that goal. In 2012 to 2015, to accomplish that goal, for better or for worse, we realized we had to create our own technology platform, a proprietary platform, because nothing existed off the shelf that would achieve our goals. So James and his team spent over 3 years on a driving range in Oklahoma City, basically testing everything you can ever imagine to track golf balls, the software side of it, everything, to make a compelling platform that we thought would be great for consumers and guests later on. After 3 years of testing, they, not me definitely, were able to create something that has worked unbelievably well for the last 2 years in Tulsa at our first facility. So we've been open, as I mentioned, for 2 years. That 2 years has been a lot of positives, some negatives. The one thing that I will tell you is that this type of operation, golf entertainment operation, is not something that you just walk into and understand how to operate. It's a very complicated operation. There's technology, there's food, there's beverage, there's hundreds of employees that you have to train. So it is not something you just walk into after a month or two and say, we know what we're doing. We've spent these 2 years learning and perfecting the operation and also stabilizing the technology platform, and we are now ready to grow across the country, hopefully with our first big flagship location here in El Segundo. I'm also proud to announce that just a month ago, we announced a partnership with Bethpage Golf Course in New York, one of the premier golf courses, public golf courses in the country, if not the world. After looking at a lot of different technology platforms and companies in this space, chose us to bring our technology and our system to Bethpage in advance of the PGA Championship next year and the Ryder Cup in a few years. We're extremely honored and privileged by that, but I think it speaks to the fact that we have accomplished or produced something, created something that's truly unique, that appeals beyond just the entertainment aspect, but to the real golfers that want to practice and improve their game. That's what we want to bring to El Segundo. So what have we accomplished in 2 years? Quite a bit. We have almost 500,000 guests that have come through the doors in Tulsa, Oklahoma at our first facility. A very diverse group of people ranging from golfers to non-golfers. As you can see here, 64% characterize themselves as social or non-golfers that really haven't played much but want to learn how to play. 42% female. Speaks to the fact that we do create a very diverse group that comes through and enjoys our facilities. You can see through the star rankings that we have on Google, Facebook, social media reviews, people truly enjoy the experience at Flying T. They've played a lot of games, over 1 million games, 126,000 rounds of golf, meaning golf courses that you can play at our facility, which James will go into more detail later, and tons of practice sessions and hours on the game. So it's something that truly appeals to both the entertainment crowd and the true golf crowd, as you'll see. And in over 2 years, we've proven that we have a very stable platform that people really enjoy, experienced people really enjoy to play. So with that, we're going to go into, I apologize, into who our other partner is on this offering, which is Cobra Puma Golf. I'm sure you guys have heard of them, but wanted to play this video to give you a little bit more information. So Cobra Puma is one of our proud partners. We've been partnered with them for over 2.5 years as our apparel and as our hard goods partner. The reason we partner with them is because they're a golf brand that obviously is staked in tradition, but understands where the game of golf is going, understands it has to be fun for people to get them energized in playing the game and to grow the game. And so we've been working with them for the last 2 years to really try to do that. And we're proud to announce that with the partnership with Cobra here at El Segundo, they will be creating and building their flagship Cobra Puma Performance Training Center. It'll be the first of its kind, very state-of-the-art for training for residents, that really focuses on club fittings, lessons, things of that nature that I think will make El Segundo residents very proud and be something that is, I think, very special and unique to this facility. So we're a proud partner with them. The fact that they, obviously have a wide appeal to range of demographics, but also understand the technology side as well with their investment in Arcos and Cobra Connect. At El Segundo, we're actually working on the ability to take the technology and the data that you have at the range and take it to the course and vice versa. So you truly see every shot, all the data from it, and can really improve your game. So in summary, they understand the game of golf. It's very important that we keep true to that nature of golf, but also make it fun and advance it through technology, and that's what Cobra is going to allow us to do. With that, I'll turn it over to James.
John. And by the way, as we go through this, if you all have questions, if anybody has questions at all, please feel free to speak up so that we can address those. We are going to have a lot of material to go through. So I want to re-emphasize one thing that John covered. So Cobra Connect is actually a system that puts a tracking system in each club. Those will be available in our at the lakes to be used on the 9-hole course. They'll also be available for folks to take out and use when they play golf anywhere else. That actually is and will be the first time that the course experience and the driving range experience are matched up so that you can see what you actually shoot with a given club at the range and on a course, and you can see where there are anomalies. It'll make you a better golfer. For a younger generation of golfers, it starts to put a lot of context around golf that isn't necessarily there when you're not a great golfer. And we think that's a really exciting aspect of this because it'll be the first of its kind where you've got a technology-enabled range sitting next to a technology-enabled golf course. So that, for me, is pretty neato. There's lots of neato stuff for me, though, because I'm the tech guy. So what we're going to do next is talk a little bit about a golf shot and talk a little bit about what's different as you think about us, Drive Shack, Topgolf. Everything that's in this is supported by and taken directly from the RFPs that have been submitted. And I just want to give you guys a sort of more visceral experience of what happens when a golf shot gets hit at our range versus the other ranges. So we classify typically a golf shot happens across 3 events. The first one is ball launch. When you actually strike the ball, it takes me about 2 or 3 swings usually to get the ball to go somewhere. Then if my brother's hitting it or somebody that knows what they're doing, it flies in a pretty curve. While it's in the air, the ball flight, and then it lands somewhere out in the field. Event 3 is ball landing. Each of the companies that are speaking with you about the lakes have a different approach to measuring that information. And that's important. It's important for a couple of reasons. First reason it's important is because it's not as accurate unless you see the entire shot. So this is the Drive Shack system. Drive Shack in Orlando has rolled out a system that actually has an in-bay camera monitor system that watches the first 4 feet of flight. After that, it's a guess as to where the ball goes. Now, it works really well sometimes when there's no wind, when there's low weather, when there's not a lot of environmental mess. But for the most part, it's really just a guess. They don't actually see the ball fly. They measure the spin for a few feet. They measure the launch angle. They measure the azimuth or push-pull of the shot. So really good stuff. Pros use it because it gives you sort of your ideal shot, but what it doesn't do is tell you where the ball went. Now, our friends over at Topgolf, for whom we have a tremendous amount of respect, tackle the same problem but from a different direction. They have a radio chip in each golf ball, which I'm sure you all are familiar with, and they measure where that golf ball goes if it goes into one of the holes. So the picture that you've got up here has a little bit of an orange segment around one of those holes, but basically that hole has 40 or 50 nets in it, and each net at the bottom of it has a reader. So when the ball comes out of the bay, it can get there by being thrown into the hole. You can knock it into the hole. You can do whatever you want to get it into the hole. And then it spirals through that and it reads it and says, hey, your ball, James's ball, went in this hole, which doesn't happen very much either. The important part, though, is they don't see the ball while it's in flight, and they don't see the ball when it comes out of the bay. So they don't know all of those other statistics, if you're a serious golfer, that are of real interest. Things like launch angle, things like push-pull, all of that good stuff. Now, that's the Topgolf model. It works really well. It's a lot of fun. It's not, though, a system that allows you to really play golf courses. It's not a system that tells you much else other than whether or not the ball ended up in a hole. We took, and it took a while to get to this point, but we took a little bit different approach. So similarly to Drive Shack, we use a monitor in the bay to see that first few feet of flight. It gives us spin statistics, it gives us direction, it gives us all kinds of information. We then pair that with a tracking system that watches the ball as it flies until it hits the ground. So basically, instead of just guessing at it, we actually watch it. We record XYZ coordinate positions with timestamps, so we know where the ball actually goes. Now, that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. We think it has some advantages. One of them is we don't have to put giant holes out in the turf, so you end up with a much prettier, more pristine picture, but we also can do other things with that. Some of those things are important. This graphic that's up here is a comparison of skill levels for our game. So if you noticed back here, these flags, each one of those flags is represented in a color scheme up on this page. And what we can do, because we track the ball wherever it goes, we actually can make those targets so big you can't miss. We can then, for my brother, when he's up, we can make the target so small it's really hard to hit. So the goal here, I have 2 9-year-old daughters. My brother's has 3 children now. we went out and tested with them. We said, hey, is this fun? Can you hit the ball? Is this engaging? And because our system does not have a minimum shot requirement, you don't have to hit it 25 yards into the giant hole. It also is really accurate. So if it says it went past the yellow pin, it went past the yellow pin. What that means is we can actually make the game a lot more interesting for folks who would otherwise be frustrated because they can't hit the ball very far or they can't hit the ball very accurately. This comes up in several places. This is the most visceral or sort of the easiest to understand, but our long drive game is another example. If you're a touring pro, your long drive fairway is about that wide, and if you're not, fairway is bigger than the entire range. So you end up with an experience that actually level sets and allows people who don't golf to enjoy the game, people who do golf. And I can tell you as a non-golfer, when I have to go out on the golf course, I think the good golfers are more upset than me because I'm slowing them down and all the rest of it, right? This gives me a system, and this system gives anybody the ability to play head-to-head with a great golfer. As an example, I beat one of the Cobra Puma pro golfers, heads up, playing a game of darts, 5 shots. And I won. It was, well, details later. But anyway, I won, and that was pretty awesome because I beat a pro golfer. That's never going to happen at any of the other systems that you see. The other thing that this lets us do, and this really comes up quite a bit, both for serious golfers and also for people who've never played, you use real golf balls, it's very accurate, and because of the way our system works, we can actually play the real Pebble Beach golf course alongside 32 other golf courses, alongside if we are chosen to participate and help build the Lakes into a world-class facility, you can also play the current version of the Lakes Executive Course, and we'll be able to play the future version of the Lakes. We're the only system out there that gives you this kind of fidelity that allows players to actually play, and we handicap this too. If you're a beginner, you're way out front. You're not as embarrassed as you are if you're on a real golf course playing way out front, but you're way out front. It's a shorter course. When you're all the way back, if you're at the touring pro, what's it? Tips? The tips, yeah, so they're at the tips. So, but it's a fun system because it marries, you hit the ball, you get to see it fly, we show you where it goes in the game, and we show you where it goes on the golf course that you're playing. We have big plans for this. We want to have every golf course that's on TV available in our bays because when you have that, people that don't normally play golf can see how well they hit just after they watch Ricky Fowler hit. That's a fun experience. It's something that, as a non-golfer and somebody who honestly only plays golf on my dad's birthdays each year, I actually enjoyed playing golf because I was watching it on the British Open at St. Andrews while I was playing St. Andrews. That's a neat experience, and it's one that I think connects people to the golf experience that otherwise wouldn't even try. All right, so now we'll go into the vision for the Lakes. Not the best chart we've ever made, but a couple of comments here. We obviously, our focus and the part that's well within our scope is the state-of-the-art range. That will have a full-service restaurant, it will have huge event spaces, and it will have non-golf games and activities. We will have, as we do in Jinx, our life-size chessboards and all kinds of other fun stuff. That's a really key part of what we do. We'll have outdoor terraces, patios, and activity areas that feature stuff other than golf. And we will have, as stated in the RFP, a $2 million investment to turn the executive course into a technology, the first of its kind, technology-enabled, state-of-the-art, absolute world-class premier course. We'll use the Cobra Connect technology alongside our technology to create something that I think will actually draw people from far and wide within the market, the broader market of Los Angeles, because of that really special offering. Also important, excuse me, also important, because of our technology, we don't require anything physical in the range. We can actually shorten the range a little bit, which opens up some additional flexibility. So we can actually have a bigger parking area, which is going to be important. We intend and plan and expect to have 500,000 guests a year through the Lakes. We've got to have parking for those folks. We've got to make sure that they can get in and out easily and safely. So those are some of the overview pieces of this. We have quite a few other documents, I think, in the RFP standard, but that's kind of how we see where we want to go. All right. We'll turn to decision criteria and why we think Flying T is a superior fit on each. And I'll turn it back over to my brother, John.
Thank you. So first and foremost, in terms of experience and capability, we spoke earlier about the fact that we have been open for 2 years now and really proven and stabilized the operation and what we're doing from a golf entertainment aspect. Whether it's really not us, but the team behind us, our COO, our operations team, our tech team, we have the experience and the leadership and the ability to really make this a success in El Segundo. We've talked a lot about the golf technology. As you could probably tell, James is very passionate about the product and the system that he has developed along with his team. But we really do have unprecedented experience on the technology side and what we're trying to produce here and what we would have here at El Segundo. More importantly, we have a driven team. This is a team that will be on the ground here in El Segundo. This is not one of 50 locations for us. This is a flagship location that will get all the focus and prioritization that we put into Tulsa. Before we open that, we put that same focus and more in this facility. This is a big deal for us, let's not lie, and this is something that we will focus on. It's not going to get lost in the shuffle. So this will be a flagship location that we take very, very seriously, as we mentioned here and mentioned in the RFP itself. And finally, we recognize that we're not going to be able to do this alone, especially the two of us. We have a lot of really strong partners, best-in-class partners in every step of the way, whether it's Cobra Puma on the golf side, whether it's our architects, our construction firms. Everyone we're partnering with, as we mentioned in the RFP and show here, are truly experts in their field and world-class, and we're going to bring them along to make sure that every aspect of our facility at El Segundo is perfect and we can be successful here. The next criteria in terms of the business and operating plan, I'll try not to go into too much detail here, as I'm sure you all have read through this many times. There's multiple pages in the RFP. But essentially, we're going to create a 3-story technology-driven driving range, as we've talked about, and also improve the 9-hole executive course. So the facility itself, or the range, will have somewhere between 90 to 110 bays with new turf, nets, lighting, everything that you'd expect as we go through in the RFP. And as I mentioned earlier, a state-of-the-art Cobra Puma performance and training center and short game area. This is really key to, I think, to appealing to the real golfers, and again, making sure that we focus on trying to improve their games and give them a place to practice and improve. Finally, we will be working with a national golf management firm to operate the golf course. That obviously is not our biggest strength. There are others that do that very, very well, many of which put proposals in here. So we will work with one of them as we invest the $2 million that we discussed in the golf course to redesign it and to improve it. We will be working with the national golf management firm there. In terms of the actual operating plan, the key drivers obviously are getting guests through the door to the facility, whether it's on the range or on the golf course. We expect about 465,000 guests annually, spending around $50 per person on average. Obviously, that's going to fluctuate between what they're doing at the facility, but that's an average in terms of group events, corporate events, everything else. That's going to produce roughly $23 million in revenue, and it's going to produce a lot of strong financial impact for the city of El Segundo. With our approximate $38 million investment all in, we're going to expect $36 million in revenue for the city of El Segundo over the next 20 years, which includes a monthly ground lease plus 1% of our revenue. Next criteria in terms of the capital improvement plan. We've gone through this a little bit, but just to summarize, in terms of the executive course, we will work with a golf management partner, redesign, maintain, and operate it. We do plan to spend $2 million up front on the renovation of the executive course, focusing on the lighting, course design, and infrastructure improvements. And then we will continue to invest in the course ongoing after the first year, $200,000 annual investment, maintain it and improve it to make sure it stays as a top quality golf course for this area. In terms of the driving range, as we mentioned, almost $40 million to create a state-of-the-art facility along with the Cobra Puma Performance Center. Residents and members of the lakes will have discounted pricing at Flying T while the lake's golf course is under development. And again, much like on the golf course, we'll continue to invest annually in that facility so that it continues and always maintains itself as a state-of-the-art facility. Again, as I mentioned, this will be a flagship facility for us, and it will get our full attention both up front and ongoing once it's operational. With that, to finalize the presentation, I'll turn it over to James.
All right, so we've worn a lot of hats. Both of us have as our businesses kind of come online and as we've grown and developed it. But one of the things that we focus on since before we opened was really some of the value sets that we want to bring to the business. We have a benefit, and we've been blessed to come from a family business, and so we've learned some of this specifically from our parents. But we've set out service as one of our core criteria, one of our core values that we expect ourselves to live up to, and as well as the rest of the team. And so what we've done is, as part of that, is we've really focused on trying to find local programs within the Tulsa and Jenks area where we can have a real measurable impact. There's some examples up here of how that works and what that means. We call it, we've now branded it as the community program, and we see it as first and one of the top priorities for the business. If we do this right, then we will have a wildly successful business, because This is the kind of stuff that we care about. This is the kind of stuff that really makes a difference. And we focus on that in all of the community, or in the community specifically. I'll call out a couple of specifics here. So Drive for Dollars, we started that about 9 months ago. Each month we have a charity partner. The charity partner has access to the facility for fundraising at deep discounts. We also have a monthly contest. Drive for Dollars is one of them. Darts for Dollars is the other. The high score for either one of those gets paid out at $1 a point or $1 a foot. So if you score the longest drive for the month, 300 yards, you get $900, and our charity partner gets a check for $900 from Flying T. It's actually turned into an amazing experience because we take the top 5 at the end of the month. We have them go head-to-head in what we call the Tournament of Champions, and you've got people yelling, screaming, high-fiving, going absolutely bonkers over it. And it's been a lot of fun, and it brings people in to try it. People get really interested in trying to get better at golf if they can get a good score. And then as a result, we also get a better outcome for our partner, the charity. Some of those charities have been things like the Coding Club in Tulsa, which is I'm going to mess up, but it's one of the, it's a program to help kids in underprivileged schools learn how to code. And so we were able to fund about half of the operating expenses of that charity. And next year, we hope to be able to actually fund a computer donation for each of the kids that participates. All of that driven through what Flying T does. There's examples out there across the board. First Responder Friday, where everybody who's first responder or active military or veteran plays for free. We have national participation in charities like Red Nose Day. And we have some really cool one-offs that have come up. I think my brother can speak a little bit to the trading card story. So we've split the two up. That was community. We think of resident involvement as a little bit different. And this is another piece that we're really committed to. At the time right now, we're actually in the middle of our summer camps. We expect to continue and extend those here at El Segundo. And we want to work really closely with Good Swings Happen, which we understand has gotten a lot of traction and engagement in the community. Also, and uniquely, I think, we will maintain the current pricing for residents of El Segundo. So the way we've built the technology, we can turn it on or turn it off in any given bay. So if somebody wants to come in and just hit golf balls and doesn't want all the circus, technology stuff, whatever, we can just give them balls straight out of the bay and they can hit and play just like they normally would. That would be a special offer just for residents. We want to offer and continue and extend the league competitions that we do. We have 2-player, 3-player couples, 4-player. We have tournaments built around actual golf courses, whether they're on TV or not. It's an extremely successful program for us, and we really enjoy it because we get to pair and attract people who don't normally play golf or wouldn't be willing to invest that much time in a competition for golf because of the way we level set. We also offer two bays that are sponsored for the city of El Segundo as part of the overall package. Those bays would be available at any time free of charge for the city to use however they see fit. We would offer, as we do today in Jinx, free T-line tips and tricks for people who look like they're not holding the golf club right or whatever it is. I can tell you we've lost quite a few golf clubs as a result, so we're happy to give those tips. But in complimentary fast format lessons that aren't really high pressure, just some really simple stuff to help people get off the ground. We also have in Jinx, and would continue here for area golf teams at any age, at any level, free golf all during the week especially, but we also become the bad weather facility for those folks to come in and practice and things like that. It's a lot of fun. We're building some off-season tournaments. We've got to figure out some state competition rules, but anyway. But we think the resident involvement piece is huge. We treat that very seriously in Jinx, and we would continue to do that here in El Segundo. The next slide summarizes some of the financial pieces, so I'm going to turn it over to John.
Yeah, real quick, and I know we have only a couple minutes left, but essentially, as you've seen through the RFPs, our proposal guarantees the city quite a bit of revenue, as much, if not more, than any one of the other proposals. So we expect it to be over $36 million in total revenue to the city, as I mentioned earlier, with a very substantial improvement both up front for the course and the driving range, as well as ongoing capital improvements for both of those. And obviously, we're very excited about the fact, much like we've done in Tulsa, that we're going to have a huge impact on the community based on the fact that we're going to create over 475 jobs and obviously the wages that come with that. So we're very excited about our proposal and how it stacks up against the other finalists. Obviously, all very strong finalists, but we're excited about the fact that I think we'll have a stronger impact on the overall community. James?
So a couple of points to leave, and I think we're almost exactly out of time, so we can do the video or not. But relative to the other folks that are this opportunity, we really strongly feel that we are uniquely suited to golfers and non-golfers. Between the two of us, we represent those points of view, and they are there at every decision that we make about how we manage and think and grow the product, what technology we use, et cetera. It really came down to John set some pretty hard lines. You have to use a real golf ball, has to fly like a real golf ball. We have to track where it actually goes. We have to be true to that golf experience. So we are. We believe strongly that our financial returns to the city are as good or better than any of the other respondents. And at the end of the day, it's going to be an extraordinarily successful site. The demographics, the opportunity, the market itself, I think the revenue targets will be pretty easy to hit at a place like this. I think most importantly in my mind is flagship focus. This is not something you're going to get from the other respondents, or from most of the other respondents. This is going to be the premier Flying T location. We do intend to have several others in development, but this is absolutely the one that we want to knock out of the park, will knock out of the park. You're not going to see a Flying T in every town across the United States. You're not going to see a Flying T popping up, 15 of them in the next 12 months. You're going to see us working on this one, and you're going to see us working on the Bethpage project. That's it. So I respectfully submit that we're applying to become residents of El Segundo because we will open a site office here, and we will be here, and you will see our smiling faces until you tell us to leave. So we also, I think, covered more lightly in our in the full RFP, but we look at reinvestment in the course as a really unique opportunity to make a technology-enabled course that sits next to a technology-enabled driving range. As John mentioned, we want to do that with a nationally recognized partner. We want to bring in an expert, and we want to make sure that we do that the right way. But we do take responsibility for the investment that goes in. I guess I kind of got ahead of myself, but we will have a team on the ground within 60 days of any agreement. Flying T will open and maintain a permanent office here, and I can assure you, today it's about 102 in Tulsa. We have no shortage of volunteers to staff that office, so including I think me. So the bottom line is, and I think this goes down to the basics here. Look, we stand behind our team, stand behind our product, and we invite you guys to come out and see it in person, and we'll be happy to work with you and any of the residents that would be interested in doing that to help defray the cost, because we think it's worth it for you to see what the best looks like. Cool. Now, we have a video.
Go ahead and show your video. That's fine.
All right.
We've got time.
Cool. It's a couple minutes, and it's about the technology. Sorry, it's a couple minutes. It's about the technology. It'll give you a little bit more context about how it works. The speaker here is Tracy Phillips, who's our Director of Golf Instruction. He's the #2 ranked golf instructor in Oklahoma broadly, and he joined us before we opened based on the vision of growing the game of golf.
It's got technology, it's got fun. Tell me a little bit about it.
I mean, it's amazing, the technology from how far I can hit it. I've got all my numbers, the games we can play. It's pretty neat technology.
Let's go take a look at this technology.
We'll take you right into probably our most popular game that people play out here is the dart game. Basically, all you got to do is you get targets out in the field, you get points based upon those targets.
Just like any old bar.
Just like throwing a dart, absolutely. You're just throwing golf balls at it, okay? So over here it gives you the point total, so how close you hit it, the closer I get to the target, the more points I get, the further out I go. A fun game, everyone enjoys that one. The next game, probably next in line in terms of fan favorite, would be Blackjack for 21. We go through that. Basically our targets become a deck of cards. As you can tell, cards are out there, represented by our flags. I just try to figure out where I'm going to try to be able
That concludes the presentation. We want to thank you guys very much for the opportunity to be here today and to present. I think hopefully you guys can tell we're very passionate about what we've created, and we really are excited about the opportunity to bring it to El Segundo. So thank you all very, very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and for making the flight out here. Appreciate it. So, sure. The format for these meetings, it's a presentation, and then if the committee has any questions, we'll take this next 30 minutes to ask those questions of you. All right. Are there any questions that anyone has or they thought of during the presentation?
Question about software. Will the software updates? No, that's right, tech. Will the software updates? How often do they happen? Because I think Arcos is on their second version now after a couple of years.
So software is never finished, only abandoned. And so we continue to invest in that software. We continue to invest in different features that we think are meaningful, both in terms of what the basic game formats are, but also how do we connect people that are playing those games. So you saw a little bit, there was a few pieces in that video that didn't get explained very well, but there's things like the leaderboard where it shows your top 5 shots you've ever hit right there while you're playing, so you've got somebody to play against. So we're always looking for those types of features to roll in. Honestly, over the last 6 months, we've rolled out, I think, 2 different releases. We're easily on version 9 or 10, and we'll continue to invest in that software and update that software. It's a key focus for us because we see that as the link between the person who has no interest in golf and the person who might have interest in golf is making sure they have that great experience in the software.
Thank you.
So I'm looking at your RFP, Section G, deal structure, page 82. It says at the end of 6 months, Flying T decides, if at the end of 6 months, Flying T decides to keep the executive course operational, Flying T will allocate $2 million towards golf course renovations to include lighting, golf course redesign, and infrastructure. If Flying T does not keep the executive course, Flying T will partner with other local entertainment leaders to develop one of the following options: indoor-outdoor soccer, entertainment, leaders, public parks, recreation. And then you'll allocate $382 annually to ongoing maintenance of the Flying T facility. So my questions are, how do you envision this 6-month transitional period working? Because it makes it sound like it's Flying T's decision what direction the city goes and whether or not we keep that golf course or we go somewhere else. And then I have a question about the $382 annually for maintenance. Is that maintenance for the golf course or the soccer field, or is that maintenance for the Flying T facility?
Yeah, I'll try to address both of those. On the first question, so when we originally did the RFP, we looked at a lot of different options. First, we keep an executive course. We bring in soccer. We bring in other outdoor recreational activities. And I think as we put in the RFP, we're going to evaluate all those different options that are out there. Since that has been submitted, we have looked at most of those options around the country to figure out what we think would work best here. We've decided that we will go with an actual keep the executive golf course, but invest $2 million into it to improve it, redesign it a little bit, and make it state of the art, as James said, with the technology and everything else that we're going to do. So we will be keeping the golf course, and we're going to partner with the golf course operator to maintain that and to improve it long term. In terms of the ongoing CapEx that we would put into the facility, as we mentioned in the presentation, it's over $500,000 total in both the facility and the driving range facility and the course, with $200,000 of that committed just for the course.
Okay, so the 200 is for maintenance of the course, and you're saying today that is your plan to keep a golf course, an executive course, operational in conjunction with your Flying T operation.
That is correct.
And I think I heard you say you're going to partner with some national golf course running company to actually maintain that. And
yes,
run
that's
the golf
correct.
course.
We'll have a national, very recognized brand or company to operate that course, and those discussions are already in process.
Okay, I'm curious, you mentioned technology of tracking balls on the golf course. How is that going to work, and what do you mean when you say that?
Let me see what I can do. You'll probably stop me in a second. I'm going to talk technology. Now, what we're talking about is with the Cobra Connect and being able to have the technology in the clubs. When you go play any golf course, we're not putting special things out on the golf course. It's actually tracking through the device that's in the club, going to your app to say you hit your 7-iron this far in this hole, your driver this far, etc. We're going to be able to take that technology. You're going to be able to see all that through Cobra Connect, and then also see it on the range when you're hitting your same clubs. We're going to have that same data, so you can see if you're taking your distances and your shots from the range to the course and vice versa. That's what I mean by enabling a technology-driven golf course and range all in the same facility. Does that make sense?
It's in the club? The golf head is where the...
It's in the grip of the club.
Oh, Alex knows.
It's extremely cool from a golfer's perspective. Yeah.
Okay.
It is pretty neat, and it's, I would say, in terms of what that talked about and that's going to be that's a golf stats that I think that'll be an ongoing area of investment. And I think comment on RFP. We debated going back and forth about whether we file on our original RFP stating that, but the this will be investing.
Any further questions? I got some more. Let's just, now I'm on page 81, of page 101, which are just kind of your breakdown charts. So let's just bottom line the financial contributions and how you got to, because you have estimated gross revenues. So just give us, for the folks at home who haven't read all these wonderful RFPs, summarize for us what you are proposing as far as payments to the city through operation of your enterprise.
Yeah, so there'll be a standard monthly ground lease that we'll pay to the city, which is outlined in there. It's a little bit smaller while we're during construction, as we don't have any revenue yet. But then we'll, once we're open, that monthly ground lease, actually the P&L, but the monthly ground lease will go up to the rates that we signify in the RFP. And then we'll also be providing up to 2% of revenue ongoing once we're operational. That is how you get to over the 20 years, the $36 million in revenue to the city. So the first 2 years, as we kind of ramp up and get going, it'll be 1%, and then it'll go to 2% from.
Okay, and yeah, make sure you speak in the microphone. Again, we have a huge home viewing audience. So for the folks at home, what you have here is during construction, monthly rent is $20,000. I'll just do yearly. We'll talk in yearly. $240. But when you get operational, it goes up to $918,000 as a base rent.
Right.
And then on top of that, you're projecting, once you're operational, $23 million in revenue, and there is allocated to the city 1% of that. And then in year 4, that goes to 2%.
Right.
Okay, and that is gross revenue that you're taking that percentage from.
That's correct.
Okay, and that $23 million number, as impressive as it is that based on performance at the current facility now?
Yeah, so it's based on the number of bays that we're going to put here in terms of facility or the driving range and the amount of revenue per bay. And obviously there are, as you guys are very aware, some comps out there in this space, especially in a market of this size, that we're also able to utilize to get to that number and be very confident in that number. Obviously, with our proposal, we're all very aligned to make sure that this is a successful facility, both for our own financial benefit and for the city. But we want the city to share. If we are doing really well, the city should share in that, and that's the proposal that we've tried to outline.
Okay, let's talk about parking. I think I had, from the notes I took from the RFP, 200 plus parking. Do you have a firm number of parking spaces you're envisioning?
We will have that firmed up once the golf course redesign aspect is finalized.
Okay. But you do imagine having to add additional parking spaces?
Yes, we'll have more parking. We're still working on the final numbers, though. And I think, as James mentioned earlier, part of the benefit of the way the technology works on the driving range, because we do tell you how far the ball is going, even if it hits the back net, we can say it would have gone this far, is that we can shorten that range if needed. It doesn't have to be 250 yards like it is in Tulsa. We can make it 230, 200 to accommodate for that parking.
Okay. Talk a little about and educate us on, you've got some chess boards and some kind of public space. How does that work?
So we have what we call the 19th hole, which is kind of the balcony areas and the lower level outside of the facility. We have a big putting green, and we have kind of these life-size chess pieces. We have cornhole, a bunch of other activities and games for kids and others to play while they're at the facility, while they're eating lunch or just hanging out at the facility. We have a lot of games for families and kids to play while they're there.
And if I'm a serious golfer, I don't want to do anything with Flying T, is it your idea to maintain a separate clubhouse for me at the executive course, or am I going into the Flying T facility to get my tee time?
It's a good question. The clubhouse will be connected to the Flying T facility. You don't have to go to the same desk that you would check in for a Flying T day, check in for your tee time. So it'll be separated out, but it'll be one building, not multiple buildings.
Okay.
Just to add a quick comment on the game piece of this, it's not the golf side of it. So we've worn a lot of hats. I took over as GM of the site for a few months, for about 8 months. So we started really experimenting with things just to see what people would play with. So we put Scrabble out, we put chessboards out, we put checkers, dominoes, all over the facility. And it was a pretty neat thing because people suddenly just started hanging out and playing them like all the time. Kids that got bored of playing golf would come inside and play. Parents were teaching their kids how to play chess out on this giant life-size chessboard. So I think we've developed and grown in terms of what our vision for the business is. And I think this will continue to come back later the future years, but we look at active entertainment as being kind of an element of what we think of ourselves as, because we think that the type of folks that are interested in not, instead of going to a restaurant and sitting down, they want to go someplace and do something, but together as a group, whether it's friends, family, colleagues, that sort of thing. We want to make those opportunities as available as possible. So we're a little bit early on to think about our things like pickleball and some other stuff that I really want to do and I'm excited about, but that outdoor area that we can use because we can shorten the range, we expect to have that place really be a vibrant hub of active entertainment for everybody.
The $2 million that you talk about with the executive course, does that include rebuilding the clubhouse as well?
No, that is
Yep, sorry.
that is separate from the clubhouse, which is part of the Flying T construction number. That's going to be directly allocated to the redesign of the course and then improving the actual course itself, bunkers, things of that nature.
All of the revenue you mentioned, it's all golf related, right?
It's golf and F&B related.
So did you split out the F&B and how much revenue would be
So
generated from that?
Yes, we expect the revenue split to be roughly 50-50 between golf and the food and beverage component, which is similar in line with what we see in Tulsa. Yes, that is correct.
Right.
The number that you see here, and that was in the RFP, because we had not decided on the golf course at that point, does not include the rounds of golf revenue that we would have on top of that. We'd actually expect a little bit higher jump in terms of total revenue and then the impact to the city.
Can you tell us what does it cost? I know you're doing $10 buckets for residents. If I don't want to play the game, I just want to hit a bucket of balls before going to the executive course. But if I want to go with my family of 4, what's it going to cost me to play?
So we would look at it much like we do in Tulsa, where we have different pricing, different days, and obviously we have resident specials and all that, as you mentioned. But it can go anywhere from $15 or $20 for the bay. That's for as many people or up to 6 people in that bay, all the way up to, if it's Friday night, Saturday night, it'd be a little bit more expensive. So we're looking at more $40, $45 per hour for the bay. But again, that's for as many up to 6 people or 8 people as you can get in the bay. It's not per person. So we have different pricing based on the day of week, time of day, and obviously try to accommodate everyone depending on.
All right. Any further questions, anyone?
I think we had some questions over here.
I have a question. Looking at the
And just so
short-term
you
and
know,
long.
this is Carol Beck. She's our RFP golf consultant.
Thanks, Ryan.
Sure.
Regarding the capital improvement plan, and now with the clarification that you intend to keep it as the executive course without the 6-month look period, how do you envision from the day one when you're handed the keys, in essence, there's the entitlement process. How do you stage now that there's the improvements for sure going into the golf course? You keep everything open as is during the entitlement permit process, kind of just high level. Talk us through how the revenue streams will flow and through that timeline.
Yeah, so we're going to continue before we find out if we're selected or not to finalize who our golf operating partner is. And once, hopefully we're accepted to take over the lakes, we'll obviously begin on the design of it, permitting. We expect to do the clubhouse or in the driving range first. We're going to try to keep a short game practice area. It's going to be obviously not a full range, but there will be an area where people can hit, practice, and warm up before they go. And we're going to try to keep as much of that course open as possible while we're doing the driving range. But that'll be the first focus. And then obviously we'll also, as James mentioned, have, once the driving range is done, we'll then begin on the golf course side of it. While the golf course is being renovated and going through its improvements, you'll still be able to play the golf course in our facility, as James showed, or as we showed with the golf courses. We'll have El Segundo, the golf course on the lakes, on our system, so people can play that. But obviously, it's not a simple process. There's a lot of work to be done, but we're going to stage it to make sure there's some sort of golf activity available for the residents at all times.
So is it safe to say then that the golf course management company that you'd bring on board then, would they be, I guess, facilitating these operations? Because as you've stated, your expertise is going to be once the Flying T facility is in place. So
we'll be working with them, but obviously we'll be looking to their lead on the golf course side of it.
Anything else? Anyone? All right. Well, thank you both for taking the time to give us a presentation. We appreciate you coming out here and speaking with us and meeting with us. We enjoyed it.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and for the public, our next scheduled hearing is at 3 o'clock. We'll be talking with Drive Shack. So I will make a motion to recess until 3 o'clock.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Second?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you, everyone. See you at 3. Yeah, it's okay. And now we have a presentation at 3 o'clock from Drive Shack. So just introduce yourself and take
Great.
it away.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Paul Ballum, and I'm a Senior Vice President with American Golf Corporation, which is the traditional golf management arm of Drive Shack Incorporated. We're very excited to have the opportunity to present our proposal for the Lakes of El Segundo. I'm here today with another nearly 20-year veteran of American golf, Michael. He's our Senior Vice President of Public Golf Operations. He's based right here in El Segundo. I also have Casey O'Callahan of Casey O'Callahan Golf Design. And he's our golf course architect and put together our routing plan and redesign for the lakes. I also have Liz Watson, from Greenberg Glusker, which is a local law firm here that we've been doing work with for more than 20 years, all things related to leasing, owning, operating, developing golf courses. So we have a long-established relationship with Glusker. I'd like to thank Meredith Pettit, Carol Beck, Fire Task Force, Charles Mallory, and Sung Nguyen, who left, for their assistance and accommodation in allowing us. Sarah gave birth to 2 twin boys last week. Yes, I said last week. And she is unable to travel just yet, and we're grateful for the city's accommodation. So, as evidenced by her participation here today, Sarah and really all of us are particularly excited about partnering with the city of El Segundo on such an exciting project. Just a mere yards from American Golf's corporate headquarters on PCH. So with that, I will turn the presentation over to Sarah.
Wait, hold on. Can you make sure that microphone is on? I'm sorry, Sarah. Sorry, yeah, I want to make sure the microphone is on so you can be picked up on the television. Are we all good? Go ahead.
We're good.
Okay. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll start on page 1, slide 1, by introducing Drive Shack. So Drive Shack Inc., we're a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange with 2 real focus points, one on the traditional on-course golf and one on the traditional off-course entertainment golf. Our 50-year-old traditional golf business, American Golf, one of the largest, longest-standing, and most respected owners and operators of golf courses, really in the United States and in the world. We operate 74 golf courses in the United States, and as you guys know from our proposal, heavily concentrated in Southern California. We have over 40 courses in Southern California alone. In fact, just within LA County region, we operate 21 courses, and our headquarters is in El Segundo, just minutes down the street from the lakes. Furthermore, we've had 8 out of the 8 last years. We've been awarded the LA County Golf Course of the Year. Our team is wonderful, as Paul mentioned, Paul and Lee, who are there we have 1,200 employees in LA County alone, and we have great people that are working kind of on the ground day in and day out to make sure that we have great experiences at our courses. So having such a deep and vast golf presence in the United States, about 5 years ago, we recognized the opportunity to take all the best aspects of golf off the course and into a venue we call Drive Shack. We recognize there's over 40 million Americans who say they're at least somewhat interested in taking up golf, and over a third of those people are between the ages of 18 and 34, so prime for conversion. However, as a previous non-golfer myself, traditional golf often presents a lot of barriers to entry to convert these individuals, and so by creating Drive Shack, we really combined the great outdoors, enjoyable time spent with friends and family, swing-based exercise, and combined it with our top-of-the-line technology, free clubs provided by our friends at TaylorMade, non-intimidating proprietary games, and our amazing food and beverage experience. And so really the blend of all these features creates a year-round destination for what I call fun seekers of all ages and skill levels. And so through our proposal, we believe we are the only fully owned and integrated traditional and entertainment golf solution, which will guarantee you a smooth, seamless operation for the city and all of your patrons that you have within the city. And so rather than going through the whole proposal today, we hope to spend the time we have basically introducing you to Drive Shack, walking you through a few of the improvements that we intend to make, and then really offering areas of differentiation for our proposal. And however you'd like to do it, I'm happy to take questions along the way or at the end, depending on your preference and how it works within the presentation itself. So jumping to slide 3, sorry, Paul, if you could. So on slide 3 here, I always kind of say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so video must be worth 1,000,000. So we'd love everyone to really experience the real thing at our venue in Orlando, and the 5 other venues we're opening pretty shortly. But in the meantime, we'd like to bridge the experience by showing you the full Drive Shack experience in under a minute through this video. Paul, do you mind please hitting play? So turning to slide 4, the video I think really speaks for itself, but just to reiterate, Drive Shack combines golf, fun, food, and games for everyone, golfer or non-golfer, in a sports and recreation environment. We designed Drive Shack by a combination of hand-swinging club golfers, wannabe golfers, and avid golfers to really ensure that there's something for everyone within our venue. Ultimately, we always envisioned placing these venues next to our American golf courses, and so we never wanted to alienate the true golfer, but we also didn't want to intimidate the non-golfer. And so in everything that we've designed within the creation of Drive Shack, it was really bringing the best of both of those aspects to heart. We created an atmosphere is supportive of league play, trivia nights, and karaoke contests, but it also has golf practice, lessons, clinics, camps, so really inviting and fun for everyone, whether it's a family get-together, whether it's a date night, or whether it's a corporate outing. So turning to slide 5. So our vision for Drive Shack El Segundo really takes our existing venue to a whole new level. We plan to invest over $30 million and create a 60,000 square foot, what I call a clubhouse. This building will house 102 climate-controlled hitting bays, event space, a restaurant, a terrace, a patio, a pro shop. All of the check-in areas will service the hitting bays as well as the 9-hole course, making it an incredibly seamless and integrated experience for all patrons. And also, once you go play the 9-hole course, you know exactly where you're going for lunch after. We believe our experience from the golf side leads us to strongly believe that it's critical to the health and longevity of the Lakes course that the entire facility really be operated under the same lessee, and our plan was fully developed with that in mind. So turning to slide 6, as Paul mentioned before, we've worked and will continue to work with award-winning golf architect Casey O'Callahan, who's with us today, to develop a comprehensive remodel plan for the golf course that we believe incorporates all major requests from the city, and happy to discuss anything that it didn't request, that it didn't touch on, and why it didn't touch on it, or if we would do it in the future. We estimate these improvements will cost at least $1.5 million to complete, of which obviously will cover all of the capital improvement costs. And you know, what's different perhaps from a lot of other folks is given our in-house team of construction, agronomists, maintenance professionals, and large economies of scale on the golf course management side, we're able to complete a lot of these requests more efficiently than maybe other parties might be able to. And we'll continue to do that over time. You know, some of the key improvements are listed on this page, so I won't go through them in detail, but really, as we do with our other municipal partners, we're happy to meet as frequently as possible to discuss other improvements over time that we collectively believe would be worthwhile investments to add onto the property. We think the initial renovation will improve playability, it will increase practice opportunities with both the short game practice area and the practice putting green. The new construction of the short game practice area will add a new component entirely. Turning to slide 7, just to touch on this, but you know, we intend to really structure the development into 2 phases. Phase 1 of the development is the pre-construction, plan reviews, approvals, and during this period, we'll operate the facility as is with our full American Golf local management team. As I mentioned previously, we'll add capable team members to our already 1,200 employees that either work at our headquarters down the street or work at our properties in Los Angeles County alone. So we're overly familiar with hiring, promoting employees within this region. And we expect phase 1 will last just under 2 years, and we propose $250,000 annually in rent during this period to the city. Phase 2 of the development will be the construction phase, and during this period we'll break ground on the golf course redevelopment as well as the construction of the Drive Shack entertainment venue. To accommodate the golfers that currently call the lakes home today, we'll absolutely coordinate golf course access and specials for El Segundo residents, leveraging the 21 courses we operate in the LA County area. We believe, and we've done this with other courses and course improvement projects that we've had, especially large clubhouse and renovations, etc. But we think this will keep them within the family during the construction process, and we can continue to make sure these golfers and other golfers know, we have over 1.6 million rounds played within the area, so a large database of customers, that when the construction is complete, they can return to their home course and we'll have a great touch point into them. We'll continue to make our $250,000 annual payments during this period, and we would expect that phase 2 lasts less than a year and a half. So turning to slide 9, just to hit on, I think key proposal highlights. We believe and hope you believe that our proposal offers a host of benefits for the city and its constituents. We'll be making a sizable investment to create a unique entertainment venue that will provide over 400 year-round jobs, strong sales that will increase tax revenue. We'll offer a sizable rent contribution to the city and are aligned that if we make money, you make more money with our percentage rent component. We have an extremely capable and experienced team that's ready and excited to get to work as soon as possible. As I mentioned before, we have people that come to work today just really excited to offer great experiences for our customers. I think furthermore, and we take this very seriously. You're getting a dedicated partner in Drive Shack who will be a block away. If you need anything, an in-person meeting, we are there. And as you can tell right now, personally, I'm available literally at any time if you need a point of contact, as I serve for many of our other landlords throughout the country. So I'll take the next few pages to just go through a couple of areas we wanted to highlight within our proposal. Paul, if you can turn to slide 10. So again, as I mentioned previously, when we enter a different community, we take it super seriously. We're not only serving those patrons as our customers, but we're partnering with the community to open up our venue to be their venue too. So currently today, both through American Golf and through Drive Shack, we support a lot of different programs, but I'll focus on the ones in Los Angeles County. We're active supporters of junior golf, including First Tee. We support over 50 charitable causes through our American Golf Foundation, which we started as our own 501c3 charitable foundation. We consistently, whether it's raising money, providing free equipment, teaching space, event space, we host this within all of our courses and our facilities quite frequently. So between Drive Shack and American Golf, our absolute goal is put a club in everyone's hands, make that a reality, and we believe the combination of the two is, gives us the ability to do that. And so through Drive Shack El Segundo, we would like to bring similar programs by supporting area charitable groups, but also community organizations as well, and be kind of the home team venue for a lot of folks. So again, we list in more detail in our proposal some ideas that we have, but I've always found it's more important to work with folks that are really local to the area. We're fortunate that we have a lot of employees that actually live in El Segundo, so we work with them, but really work with folks like yourselves to go into what would be most helpful. So some ideas that we had were really kind of through other programs that we have, selling, whether it's the Eagles logo merchandise with a portion of the proceeds going to school sports, definitely the Parks and Recreation instructional league programs. That's something we always focus on. The summer fun activities, the Get Out and Enjoy programs. Obviously, the El Segundo Golf Clubs actually plays at some of our area clubs for American Golf today, and so we'll look to expand that relationship with them and be their home course, obviously, and continue that relationship both with this course as well as other courses that we have. And then the Los Angeles Air Force Base at El Segundo, 6,000 person operation. We'll look to create programs for them as well as their providers as well. And again, just the beginning of ideas we have, but we look forward to really playing a meaningful part in community growth. Turning to slide 11. This is my favorite part. This is the focal point of Drive Shack. It's the swing-based technology. It's kind of the games and the approach to the games that we have kind of in the creation of Drive Shack. And I think, unlike standard driving ranges, our technology-led game experience allows us to fully track, the flight of a visitor's ball and then layer that digital footprint over our gaming platform that we created. So you can actually see exactly where you're hitting the ball. So our guests at Drive Shack El Segundo will be able to play various tech-enabled games that they can practice, compete, engage with other players. The flight of our shot is not virtual. Our guests will be hitting real golf balls into a real 200-yard outfield. And we kind of pair things for skilled golfers and things for, going to be skilled golfers or want to be skilled golfers. And so for skilled golfers, our technology can track the ball beyond the length of the outfield and inform users of their shots. They can utilize our Foresight camera-based technology to receive data and feedback on their swings and really utilize that to make their game better, or they can enjoy, we have course play games where you can actually, virtually play courses like Pebble Beach with our targets overlaid on the fairways and greens to help with aim. So again, we've taken the traditional driving range experience and really improved it via this cutting-edge technology to make the sport of golf more exciting, more accessible to visitors of all ages and skill levels. In addition to the golf games, we augmented reality games. And so again, to make the game of golf more approachable, we felt like having games that are playable for everyone is really essential to growing interest in the game. We've designed several games, such as our take on blackjack, which we call Shack Jack, that gives the gamer basically a chance to put real cards out into the outfield and gives the gamer the chance to score wherever the shot goes, whether they hit the target or not. And I refer to it like having bumpers or no bumpers when you go bowling. We have a randomizing component that allows you to score points whether you're good or you're not good. And so just like having bumpers in bowling, it builds self-esteem. And so whether it's kids or novice bowlers, you can learn without pressure. We'd love to take you through our full games if given the opportunity, and would love to spend more time on there. It's, again, my favorite part to talk on. So turning to slide 12. Just another overview. Again, our team, I feel so lucky. We have such great seasoned industry veterans, and our business is the only one that really combines traditional golf and entertainment golf. We are the largest owners and operators of golf course in the U.S., and we've been in business for over 50 years, as I mentioned before. A large part of our business, over 75% of our leases are with municipalities, and so we have honestly, just about a 50-year-long track record of fulfilling our lease obligations to cities and counties. We've performed hundreds of millions of dollars with our in-house team on capital improvements, golf course renovations and either clubhouse construction or, actual course construction projects. So we fully understand the complexities of being good, stewards to public landowners and providing recreation to the communities in which we serve, and, how seriously the task is to operate on behalf of those folks. And as I mentioned before, with Drive Shack, it was really our effort to continue to grow and evolve the game of golf. So we opened our first location in Orlando in April, and are in development on sites in Atlanta, New Orleans, Raleigh, Richmond, West Palm Beach, all opening within the next year. In Palm Beach, we're actually in a municipal partnership with Palm Beach County for our land there. And then we purchased land from the city of Marietta for our site just out of Atlanta. So, it's no different both for our American Golf and our Drive Shack business. Municipal partners are how we are, continuing to grow our business. And so with our history, I think we show that we are clear, sustainable golf-centric business with, strong, long history of fulfilling our partnerships. Turning to slide 13, just to highlight the deal structure and terms that we put in our RFP response. We look forward to being a part of your community for decades, and thus would be super excited to fulfill 20-year base term and 5 6-year extension periods, recognize a full 50 years plus at the lakes, and hopefully beyond that. On an earlier page, I addressed the phase development timeline, and so during this time, we expect again to pay $250,000 annually in rent. And once we open the Drive Shack venue, the re-envisioned 9-hole golf course to the public, we intend to pay the greater of $950,000 a year with 10% increases every 5 years, or 3% of annual revenue. Our rent proposal really factors in operating the entire facility, so the Drive Shack as well as the golf course, and eliminates the need for the city to have any operating subsidy for the golf course, whatsoever, and obviously eliminates a lot of financial risk there. In order to maintain our operating standard we hold ourselves to, we also will be obviously funding all ongoing CapEx, which we provide to be, at least kind of 2 to 4% of annual revenues on an ongoing basis. Going to slide 14, we wanted to, increase what we were able to share on the pro forma assumptions a little bit. Obviously, given we're a publicly traded company with Reg FD, we can't go too far in to more information here. But these are most recently outlined kind of illustrative economics for an average site that we outlined in our most recent investor presentation. I would say, given the market dynamics in El Segundo, we would expect this site to perform even stronger than the average Drive Shack. And so we think that our earnings comfortably cover the rent obligations we propose to the city. And, we believe we're very kind of comfortable there. But happy to ask more questions or answer questions kind of later on that, because I know there were a few questions that folks had. So in conclusion, turning to slide 15, Paul, I really hope we can be selected to work with you guys to reimagine, what exists today at the lakes at El Segundo. And I absolutely know that we're the right partner to work with you to do this. I've outlined, but for one, we are the only proposal that really brings forth the best parts of traditional and entertainment golf together. We have many municipalities, of which we've included just a few recommendations, and happy to provide more if needed, that have placed their trust in us for decades and decades, because we do what we say we're going to do, and we really value the importance of being a part of the local community. Our proposal offers over 400 permanent jobs with an opportunity for hundreds of temporary construction jobs as well. And through our courses that we have in the area, we'll preserve all existing jobs on the course that exist today. Our rent proposal is a significant rent proposal that generates tens of millions of dollars for municipal revenue without leaving the city with any operational or financial risk whatsoever. And, finally, we're the only proposer that has a proven operating history, the management team really running both traditional and entertainment golf facilities. So, with that, I'd really like to thank you for the opportunity to let me join you via teleportation and present our plans and qualifications. And I'd be happy to answer any questions with myself and the team at this time.
Well, thank you, first of all, and congratulations, probably more importantly.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Let me ask, I think you did a good job explaining the rent amounts that you're proposing as far as a financial gain to the city, but you're saying it's going to be the base, once you're operational, starting at $950,000 or 3% of revenue. Is that accurate? Whichever one is, and it's whichever one is
Yes.
the greater of either one of those.
Yes.
Okay, so the rent you're proposing is the base amount, and if your revenues are more than projected, then the city shares in that, and the rent will go up accordingly.
If our 3% of revenue is more than $950,000 in year one, then we would pay 3% of annual revenue.
And is that 3% of what? Is that gross or?
Gross revenue.
For both food and beverage and golf operations and the golf course? Everything.
The whole thing.
Okay. Then explain, if you could, I go with my family of 4 to play for an hour. What will that cost me?
Sure. So on average, it's about $5 to $10 per person if you're playing outside of a special package. However, what I would say is oftentimes we have a lot of family packages. Again, we really do want to put a club in everyone's hands. And so, for instance, throughout the summer, we hold a program called Swing Pass. And Swing Pass for $45, you can come from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. or from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. with up to 6 people and play for as long as you want. And so you could come for many hours, and it would cost you much less than $5-10 per hour to come with your family of 4.
Okay. Are there any special prices or discounts for El Segundo residents with the Park and Rec ID card?
I'm sorry, I apologize, I couldn't hear that.
Are there any discounts or specials for El Segundo residents?
There's, for the golf course itself, there's specials for El Segundo residents. I think from what I just kind of described before, for kind of community organizations, schools, veterans, etc., from El Segundo, we would propose special pricing as well.
Does anyone else have questions for?
Yeah, on the golf course redesign, on the $1.5 million that you're intending to spend, do you intend to keep the same distances on each hole, or are you looking at revising that to accommodate the drive shack?
Oh, I'll let Casey speak to it if you want, but overall, the golf course, the overall golf course shrinks a tiny bit, but really we've kept the distance of most of the holes, and we're able to add what I had mentioned before, the short game area with a bunker and other items. So we were able to maintain the majority of the distance, and would happy to be continue to work to figure out kind of a plan that works for us and works for you. But I'll let Casey talk to a little bit of the golf course design and his thoughts around that make it special there.
Thank you.
Do I need to introduce myself or just talk?
Sure.
My name is Casey O'Callahan. I'm a golf course designer who assisted American Golf Corporation Drive Shack with changes. There is a slight shortening of the golf course. Essentially, as I understand it, the parking lot requirements for the Drive Shack expand into the current first hole. And so a good portion of the first hole would be eliminated. And then the remainder of the golf course would react to fitting the rest of the golf in there. So hole number 2 and 3 would stay the same. Par 4, which I think is the current, I apologize.
I think it's a par, yeah.
Would be broken up into 2 par 3s.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And so, and then essentially the 9th hole would be slightly shortened as well. So most of the other golf holes are untouched.
So is the clubhouse going to be repositioned in that design?
Or
do you know?
I'll let Paul talk to this.
So the existing clubhouse will go away, and the Drive Shack facility will act as the clubhouse for the entire site. We didn't think it made sense to have duplicated offerings on the property. And we also think that it'd be bad if the property had competing activities as well. So the way we've designed the drive shack is so that after you finish your round, you're going to want to go into the drive shack facility and hang out in the lounge area or have lunch or what have you. So, yeah, we won't have a need for a separate clubhouse, and we don't think it's a good idea either.
With that being said, will there be at least a separate desk? Because at other golf entertainment venues, you can have up to a 4-hour wait. So if you're waiting just to tee off for 9 holes, will you have to sit in the same line?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to manage that.
There will be a separate area for golfers. What we also will have is on our first level of the drive shack, we'll have some grass hitting mats, and we'll have some kind of specials as if you were getting a bucket of balls, so that if you are going to play on the golf course and you have a tee time, that you have the opportunity for, not an hourly rate to go and actually hit balls and practice beforehand, in the same exact way you do at the Lakes course today. So it will be kind of a special check-in process and accelerated check-in process, and you will have the opportunity to have that same great feel. But as Paul mentioned, because it's now combining, you'll have a pro shop, you'll have the restaurant for food and beverage after. You might decide to actually have your kids meet you after and go play at the drive shack after you've kind of, played the 9 holes that you have there. So it offers a much more seamlessly integrated experience in our minds.
I couldn't see the scorecard that was on the presentation. I just wanted to understand the differences of that current scorecard to your proposed scorecard. You have any idea on that, or is that too far advanced to ask? Yeah.
We could get you the full difference, absolutely. I don't have it right now, but I know we have it and can get you that immediately.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the total is 27. I think that's a difference of, isn't it 34 currently? No? 29, is it? Okay.
It's 340 currently.
Okay. It's 1,047 on distance?
Yes, 1,047. And the way he's designed the new greens is to take advantage of existing lakes. That much more challenging and visually appealing.
Can I say something on that?
Sure, just use the microphone, please. Thanks.
This is a good slide. So a couple things that we're taking into account. We weren't just looking to shorten the golf course. We wanted to make sure that we gave a variety of length on the par 3s so that you were hitting different clubs into those par 3s. And so that was a big part of it. Some of the greens that have changed on the golf course, the intent is to go in and match that style to the existing greens so that it looks like it's seamless, that it was always part of the golf course.
Okay.
And furthermore, with number 9 is really try to integrate that lake and kind of marry it to that water feature and really create some interest and strategy with that revised golf hole. And as you'll also see, there's a short game green which uses the existing number 9 green area as a new practice area for golfers.
Mm-hmm. So on number 1 hole, would you have the starter out there, or you still think of having the starter in the drive shack location?
You check in or a starter?
A starter.
It'll be a starter.
There? Because right now the issue is people can get on a golf course without paying.
We work with that challenge at a lot of our facilities.
I'm sure.
We frown on that.
All right.
All right, any other questions? No? Nothing? Ms.
Hi there.
Beck?
Hi. One question, and this may have been, and I wasn't able to read it in detail and see far enough to do so. It may have been in slide, I think it was number 15, which had, I think, some more detail on, which kind of addresses the projections and how the minimum rent versus the 3% of gross, and understanding what your projections are as opposed to comparing them to generally to your top drive shack facilities. In the proposed rent schedule, it looks like you're projecting that the minimum rent would click over to the 3% of revenue until like year 34. So again, I think slide 15 might have fine-tuned that a little bit, but did that, or is that as far as addressing exactly where those revenues will hit through the term?
So, yeah, I think what we've put forth through, again, the pro forma itself, that I think is on the slide just before this one, is an average revenue for an average facility. Again, we believe this is above average, and so above that $22.5 million of revenue. And so what we've showed throughout our proposal is really $25 million of year one revenue, $30 million of year one revenue, which puts forth between $70 and $90 million of rent throughout the term. That is our expectation, given this is above average in terms of market and illustrative things in terms of what we have in our presentation. So hopefully that answers your question, and it's in our RFP towards the proposed rent schedule that we put in the RFP.
Thank you.
Well, all right. If there are no further questions, then let me thank you all for being here, especially Ms. Waterman again. And thank you for taking the time to come speak with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now on our agenda, we'll come to agenda item E, which is public communication. Anyone wishing to address the task force, feel free to step up to the podium and tell us who you are and what you have to say. All right. Not seeing any rush to the podium. That'll bring us to adjournment. Our next scheduled set of presentations will be tomorrow at, is it 12:30? Tomorrow at 12:30 at City Council Chambers. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for your time.